Welcome back to the CBS 6 Power and Politics debate for Albany's mayoral Democratic primary. We do need to acknowledge that all of our candidates did struggle with traffic getting here tonight. Dorcia Pleers is still making her way as there is an accident right now going westbound on I-90. We are located in Schenectady. Of course, our candidate's coming from Albany, so just wanted to acknowledge that as we continue. And once Dorcia Pleers arrives, she will be implemented into this debate. But we do have 3 candidates here right now, so we want to make sure we get things started. We have a lot of issues to talk about over the course of the next hour next hour of time. So who is here right now? Dan Cerruti is here, Corey Ellis and Carolyn McLaughlin have all arrived and joined us here tonight. Thanks all much for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll begin with what we agreed upon in terms of the ground rules tonight. Opening and closing statements are 45 seconds apiece. And we have a lot of issues to get to, a lot of questions, and of course, at the maximum, we'll have 4 candidates at that time. So when we ask the question, 2 of our candidates will get 1 minute and 30 seconds to discuss or respond to the question. The other 2 that don't initially respond will get an opportunity for a 30-second rebuttal. And of course, we roll the die backstage to make sure everything will be equitable in terms of their time and opportunity to speak here tonight. And of course, some of that will also come at the discretion of the moderator and within the time constraints before we get to that 6:30 time that we have to be off the air for the evening news. So once again, thank you for joining us, and thank you all for joining us here tonight. And we will begin now with opening statements going from left to right on our lecterns with Mr. Cerruti. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Hello, Albany. I'm Dan Cerruti. I grew up in the city. After college, my wife, Jerry, and I moved around. We've lived in 6 cities and settled in Boston with our 4 children. We came back home 9 years ago. I'm running because I care. I love this city, but I hate what we let it become. It was 28 months ago I began walking around and talking to people and asking them what we could do to improve our city. I've since talked to over 2,000 people, and I'm convinced that we can do much, much better. So I'm ready to serve the city of Albany. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cerruti. Mr. Ellis.
Thank you. I'm Corey Ellis, and I'm proud to be running to be your next mayor of Albany. I'm Albany Common Council president as we speak. My campaign is focused on 3 key issues, 3 core issues throughout this campaign we're focusing on. Focusing on building a more stronger, equitable city where we're going to invest in our public safety and invest in our youth. We're going to improve public safety, improve quality of life when we focus on housing, when we focus on our communities, creating safe spaces for our communities. And the third thing, we're going to grow our business. We're going to grow our businesses. Our local businesses are hurting, and we must make sure that they continue to grow. I thank you for listening to us today, and I'm proud to stand up and become your next mayor of Albany.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ellis. Now, Ms. McLaughlin.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn McLaughlin, and I'm a proud daughter of Albany. And I'm running for mayor because I believe that this city is the greatest city that we can find to identify as a place to call home. I believe that it is time for us to stand up and be that kind of city that we know we can be. If you're 9 or 99, I'm here for you. If you're a business or a budding entrepreneur, I'm here for you. If you are a single resident or if you have a family and you're looking to set down some roots, I'm here for you. Because it is about the sum of us, not just some of us, as we move forward in the city of Albany.
Thank you very much, Ms. McLaughlin. We'll begin now with our first question. Kathy Sheehan's been the mayor for more than a decade now. As we know, she is stepping down. What would you do differently compared to what she's been doing in this administration over the course of that decade? We begin with Mr. Ellis. You have 90 seconds.
Thank you. Public safety. I think we dropped the ball on public safety. We continue to know that we are down police officers in the city of Albany, and we did nothing to try to supplement that. A part of my plan was to have hiring quality life officers to supplement those officers that we were missing. It did not happen. I got the council to pass a resolution supporting that idea. It didn't happen. So the things I know I would do differently is really focus on our public safety issues because we were hearing it from our business owners, we were hearing it from our residents, and nothing happened. So that's what I would focus on mostly because we cannot grow our city if people don't feel safe and if we're not providing the quality of life that they need and deserve.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Mr. Cerruti, you have 30 seconds as a rebuttal to that question.
Well, I agree with Corey that the public safety issue is the #1 issue, but it's not just safety and violence, it's the people who inhabit our streets. We need to get them help. They need treatment, they need substance abuse help, and we need more beds. So that's the first most important thing. The second thing is generation of jobs. We have not brought jobs into the city in 12 years on any scale. And jobs are what lift people out of poverty. So that second focus is around economic development and jobs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cerruti. Ms. McLaughlin, you have 30 seconds as well as a rebuttal to that question.
Well, I believe in shared decision-making. And one of the things that I feel that has been missing throughout the current administration is that very fact. If you are going to work within city government, county government, and state government, we have to have partnerships, but off with these different levels of government to move our city forward. And first and foremost, the people have got to have a say in how we move forward in the city of Albany. Shared decision-making.
Thank you very much, Ms. McLaughlin. Ms. Pliers has joined us now. Thank you so much for coming on here today. The question was to the candidates here. It was the first question we have asked. Kathy Sheen's been the mayor here for more than a decade at this time. What would you do differently than what her administration has done over the course of this last decade? You have 90 seconds.
Thank you. So one of the things that I have learned as Chief City Auditor in our city is there is a huge communication gap. And so it's important to ensure that we have sufficient communication channels so that we are conveying what's happening in our city to our constituencies. The worst thing in the world is to be the best kept secret. And while there are a lot of things that we do when it comes to city government and constituent services, the issue is making sure that people have information. In addition, I am very much a grassroots, community-centric leader. It is important to always have ears to the ground, to be talking to the people closest to the pain, walking neighborhoods, and ensuring that neighborhood voice is always reflected in decision-making, regardless of what those decisions are. And then, first term, I am ready to roll up my sleeves, hit the ground running, to ensure that we are addressing issues of public safety aggressively, revitalizing and reclaiming our downtown. These are the things that are important to residents.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pliers. We get to our next question now. Public safety on the docket. Brendan Cox, the interim police chief right now. We don't know. He's indicated that he probably won't stay on, so that leads us to our next question. Who would be your choice moving forward, and should the approach that is in place right now here in April of 2025 change? We begin with Ms. McLaughlin, 90 seconds.
The current or the interim police chief helped to formulate community policing several years ago under former police chief Krokoff. He knows the formula, and at the present time continues to implement that formula here in the city of Albany. We've got to begin or continue that process of developing trust. It's a people-police partnership that I'm looking to continue to establish and to make stronger in the city of Albany. Wherever we turn around, we see our police on the streets, talking to our residents. We've got to do more of that. We've got to ensure that our police are downtown 24/7, supporting our businesses that have invested in the city of Albany. I believe it's important that we show that I know you, I'm a part of your community, so that and when there is a problem, they're there to hear from us. I would love to have a police officer on my street. I want to see us incentivize the opportunity for police officers to live in the city of Albany. Maybe we give them a tax break. Maybe we offer other opportunities for them to be entrenched within the city of Albany. Give them opportunities to let them know, if you want to work in the city of Albany, we also want you to feel excited about living in the city of Albany.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. Mr. Cerruti, you know I have 90 seconds to answer that question. Who would be your choice for police chief if interim police chief Brendan Cox decides to move on, and should that approach change as it stands right now?
Well, I'm not ready to make that decision. I'm going to take plenty of time and talk to all the potential candidates and think that one through. But it's clear that the APD needs to be rebuilt. We've got morale problems. We have a problem with 20-year pension cap. We're losing officers to places that we never lost officers to before. And a lot of that is what's going on in Albany. Right? Albany is not as an attractive place as it needs to be, and we'll make it better. But the police suffer from some of the same challenges that everyone else, businesses suffer from in Albany. So we need to figure out how to recruit people better, which is a challenge, but making Albany more attractive will help police officers want to be in our city. We need to put 30 beat cops back in the neighborhood. I've said that several times. Brendan Cox knows about community policing. I don't know why we haven't gotten into that more right now. We have 11 beat cops in the neighborhood and three at night. I think we need to have about 30. We used to have 29. That is a prioritization of resources and something we can do. We also have brought the sheriff into the city, and the sheriff has put 30 officers in the city. I think that's fantastic. We just need to make sure that the APD and the sheriff and the other municipalities are working closer together. That's not something we've done well enough yet. So we have a lot of opportunity for growth, and it's absolutely necessary.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cerruti. Mr. Ellis, you have 30 seconds as a rebuttal to what they said or the question itself.
You know, right now I'm not ready to name a chief. I think there's some great candidates out there who've left the force. Some of our commanders who've left come back, and maybe talking to Chief Cox as well. But as I see it, as I continue to say over and over again when we look at our police department, I was the one a year and a half ago who asked the sheriff's department to come into our city. And at the time, our former police chief had told the media that's not a good idea. And then a month later, we had the sheriff's department in the city of Albany. So I'm willing to work with all our law enforcement agencies to make sure that our city is safe and to make sure we can attract better and more qualified officers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ellis. Ms. Apliers, same question to you. 30 seconds.
So I think the question is more so, who would we as a community select? This is not a choice that I would make in a vacuum or feel that I solely had the decision to make. This is very much a communal conversation. As the police chief is one of the most critical roles in our city, it is imperative that our police chief, regardless of who they are, prioritize supporting, recruiting, and retaining officers that take pride in serving our city and our residents, ensuring that they are doubling down on community policing. That is a critical priority for our residents. And then lastly, working with nonprofits that are already doing this great work.
Thank you, Ms. Apliers. We appreciate it. We have much more to get to here in the CBS 6 Power and Politics debate. We continue with this conversation about public safety right after this. Welcome back to the CBS 6 Power and Politics debate, the Democratic primary in the city of Albany for the role of mayor. And as you heard maybe off the top of our program, there was a lot of traffic. There was an accident on the thruway. One of our candidates, Dorcia Pliers, was late to the set, so didn't have an opportunity to deliver her opening statement. The candidates have agreed that she will get her 45 seconds now. So, Ms. Pliers, you may go.
Thank you. Again, my name is Dorcia Pliers, and I've been a public servant for more than half of my life. I lead with my values, and those values were shaped early on by the people who raised me. My grandmother, who was a waitress who served tables. My grandfather, who was a hardworking man who cleaned toilets. My single mom, one of the hardest working women and most fierce women that I've ever known. She was a single mom of 4, but a DC police officer. Being the daughter of a cop, but also the mother of 2 small girls, I know how important it is to ensure that we have safe streets, vibrant and thriving neighborhoods. And as a city official, I understand the importance of being able to get the job done, and I have a track record of doing so. So I am honored for this opportunity, and Albany is my home, and home is worth fighting for.
Thank you, Ms. Apliers. We appreciate it. Now let's get to our next question here. As we know, statistics show crime is down in the city of Albany year to year, but the question still is crime a problem in Albany? And where does perception play in all of that? We begin that questioning with Mr. Cerruti. You have 90 seconds.
Crime remains a problem in the city, and violent crime is what we need to pay the most attention to. We have people coming into our city from outside. Some are drug-related. endeavors, and we need to weed that out. For instance, we had bikes coming into our city, and we said we couldn't do anything about it, and the sheriff did something about it by pulling 11 and then 9 off the street. And it turns out that they weren't from someplace else. Of the 11, 9 were Albany residents. 1 was outside, I think, in Waterville, and 1 was in the Hill Country. So these are kinds of things we need to take on head on. This gets back to making sure our police force is fully staffed, which is, as we talked about, is a major challenge. The narrative that the crime is related to people who know each other, I think, is a bit of a false narrative. Sure, people know each other, and that's been going on for a long time. The level of crime is the issue. And the enforcement, support of the police, help from the DA is how we get after that stuff. In addition, as I've talked about, we have people on our streets, and they do commit petty crime, but more importantly, they make people feel uncomfortable. And that fear is as bad in many cases as the fear of being hurt with a violent crime.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cerruti. Ms. Apleers, you have 90 seconds for the same question.
Yeah, so we know that perception is reality, and while the statistics tell us that crime is down, the reality is our residents and our business owners do not feel that way. And so as mayor, my priority would be to put the public back into public safety, again, ensuring that we are supporting our police department, recruiting and retaining officers, ensuring that we are standing up an Office of Violence Prevention that would work in tandem with our police department, as well as, again, supporting our nonprofits that are already boots on the ground doing violence prevention work. When we talk about crime in our city, we're talking about a spectrum. For some of our neighborhoods, it's gun violence, and for others, people are grappling with mental health crisis, substance use issues, and the unhoused.
Thank you very much, Ms. Apleers. Ms. McLaughlin, you have 30 seconds for a rebuttal to this question about crime.
Perception versus reality. Perception is reality. People on the street will tell you, you can give me all the data you want, but I am suffering because of violence. But I tell you this, Albany will not be a great city if we are not a safe city. And I believe if you go into the neighborhoods or you go into the business community, we have got to be forceful as it relates to enforcing safety in our city. That's what the people expect. That's what they will get from me as mayor.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. Mr. Ellis, is crime a problem in the city of Albany?
Crime is a problem. It's a perception as well. So in our business, perception is reality. So we must make sure that every neighborhood is growing. We must make sure that our city is a city where people want to come to. And as long as that perception happens, that'll be tough. So when we look at our perception of our city is we can't even clear potholes. Our perception of our city's not clean. People don't feel like it's growing. We have, in order to end the perception of crime, we have to grow the city. We have to grow our neighborhoods, and we have to grow our downtown.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. We have much more to get to. Affordability is on the docket coming up next here at the CBS 6 Power and Politics debate. Welcome back to the CBS 6 Power and Politics debate. The Albany mayoral Democratic primary, our 4 candidates on the ballot here in June are all here debating some of the big issues. And we continue our questioning now, talking about affordability. And Albany does have population growth, also has rising housing costs. So the question is, how do you plan as mayor to handle some of those issues going on in Albany right now? Mr. Ellis, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you. Yes, affordability. We don't want to create a city where people can't afford to live. And when we look at it, right now, we do have a mission on our city council to create that affordable housing that is needed. And when we're talking about affordable housing, I want to be clear. We're just not talking about affordable housing for people, in poverty. We're talking about affordable housing for that college student who might want to get out of college, graduate, and live in our city. It's unaffordable for our college students as well. So we have to make sure we create affordable city. How do you do that? We have to grow our private sector. We can no longer have a single stream economy in our city. We have to create a thriving private sector that will make our college graduates want to be here, and that will begin to lower the price of affordability. If we don't create more housing, the rents and prices will continue to rise. So we have to make sure we have that balance of creating affordable housing, market rate housing, but also creating that city, that vibrant city, and that's how your city becomes vibrant. And then you'll see the crime rates go down as well.
Ms. McLaughlin, you have 90 seconds to answer that question regarding the rising population and helping to make it more affordable to live in Albany.
I had a young person approach me about 2 months ago at an event such as this. So, Ms. McLaughlin, how are you going to keep me in the city of Albany? And one of the ways we do that is to make sure that everyone at that level, this was a young person coming out of college looking for their first apartment. You have to have affordable housing at every level, from that level all the way to that naturally occurring retirement community where seniors are aging in place. We cannot tax them out of their homes, and that is a pinch that they are all feeling right now. I also believe that as we look at our housing stock and we look at the $400 million Albany Rescue Plan, some of that money, sizable portion of that money, has got to be used to address the affordable housing issues in our most vulnerable communities in the city of Albany. We can't allow that money to be just used for one major project in the city. It has got to be utilized throughout the community, and I believe one of the first ways to do that is to deal with the affordable housing issue. We have to continue to have the discussion around inclusionary zoning. How do we become better partners with those developers and with those property owners in our city such that this is a partnership that benefits the residents as well as those who are going to invest in housing in our city?
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. Mr. Cerruti, an opportunity to respond, up to 30 seconds to that.
So housing is a problem across the board, from the folks who live on the street and we need more beds, to home ownership, to market rate housing, to the inclusionary housing issue we have at the lower end of the market and subsidized housing. But at the same time, jobs are the problem. We need to bring more jobs into the city, because jobs will lift people out of poverty and give people the chance to own homes and to afford better housing. So we got to work at this on both sides. And I think the economic development investment from the state is a big piece of that.
Thank you, Mr. Cerruti. Ms. Pliers, you now have the opportunity, up to 30 seconds to respond.
So one of the first things that I would do as mayor is bring our developers and our constituencies as well as our housing advocates back to the table. One of the biggest issues with growing our housing stock at the current moment is that some say it's our inclusionary zoning legislation. It could be supply and demand issues, but we definitely need to bring all stakeholders back to the table to come up with a comprehensive plan for developing affordable housing in our city. In addition to that, addressing the absentee landlord issue and improving the current housing stock.
Thank you, Ms. Pliers. Really quickly here, you all mentioned inclusionary zoning in there. Just a quick raise your hand. Is that something the mayor, Kathy Sheehan, had vetoed, the veto that was overridden, inclusionary zoning by the council? Raise your hand if that's something that you support at this time.
Support.
Do you support inclusionary zoning in the city?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes?
I support it in principle, but it should be rolled back right now because the timing is wrong.
Okay. Thank you so much. We'll be right back here at 6 o'clock for more of the CBS 6 Power and Politics debate. Welcome back to the CBS 6 Power and Politics debate. Just after the top of the hour here, I'm Tom Eschen, your moderator here tonight. Our 4 candidates here in the Albany mayoral Democratic primary debating the issues that are impacting residents the most. We have Dorcia Pleers, we have Dan Cerruti, Corey Ellis, and Carolyn McLaughlin. Thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you for joining us here once again. We continue our questioning now, talking big. Pick one of the city's big projects going on right now or not going on right now. How would you address it, and how long would it take? We'll be giving Ms. Pleers, you have up to 90 seconds.
I would say one of the biggest projects would be revitalizing, reconnecting, reclaiming our downtown, and also accelerating access to our waterfront. Our downtown is the heartbeat of our city. It is also, for some, an area that really needs significant investment in leveraging the $200 million proposed in the state's budget gives us the economic shot in the arm that we need in order to move forward with our bold plans. My bold plans for ensuring that we have a thriving downtown that invests in pedestrian-friendly safe spaces, but also attracts mixed-use development, more housing. We talked about housing, but also more businesses, as well as supporting some of our current business owners who have weathered the storm downtown.
Thank you, Ms. Pleers. Ms. McLaughlin, pick a big project going on right now. How would you address it, and what's your timeline on it?
Yeah, I think I would like to combine 2 projects. The downtown issue is very important. But if you're going to look at downtown, you have to look at it, well, how do you describe downtown? Is it just the community between State Street and Clinton Avenue? Or is it that 1-mile radius? That's, for me, how I describe downtown. So if we're going to be looking at, as I stated earlier, the $200 million or the $400 million that the governor is going to rescue Albany, you have to rescue the neighborhoods. You have to rescue as well as downtown. Because if you don't rescue the neighborhoods, you're not going to have people who are going to be here to go and support those businesses that we hope will return to North Pearl Street, which is the technical downtown of Albany. But I also tell you, we need to look at, you look at some of the buildings downtown, what is the scaffolding that we're seeing? Does that mean progress, or does that mean that there is a problem? So I believe let's put some enforcement into property owners throughout the city of Albany, be it in the business community or be it in our neighborhoods. If you're going to invest in the city of Albany, do not sit on the property and allow it to continue to deteriorate and bring our neighborhoods down. So I believe enforcement is an issue that we have got to address, and to me that would be a major issue as the next mayor of Albany.
Thank you very much, Ms. McLaughlin. Mr. Cerruti, you have up to 30 seconds. Pick a project.
The opportunity is this revitalization that we're all talking about. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We need to think comprehensively about the entire city and think of plots of land. We've got Liberty Square and the Kenwood Estates, where the Central Warehouse is coming down all the way out to the Harriman campus. We have opportunities to bring in attractions and to bring in jobs. And so we have to use that money to seed investment, not to just spend it, but to seed investment to get more people to come to our city and invest in our city.
Mr. Ellis, about the 30 seconds to address that, or the big project that you would like to see.
Big project. Hudson Valley has always wanted a bigger footprint in the city of Albany. 16 years ago when I ran for mayor, I said we should have Hudson Valley in our downtown. If that had happened, our downtown would look much different than it does today. Also, that $400 million, I'd like to see it go to making sure we have access to our riverfront. And I think those 2 projects together, along with other development, will help grow our downtown the way we want it to be.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. We're going to stay on that topic because it is such a big one. We want to make sure you have time to address it. That's a lot of money. The governor had it in her presentation for her budget earlier this week. With a 20-minute, she had a presentation, and Albany's investment was one of the slides in that. That tells you how significant it is, not only to Albany, but to the state. So those funds, Mr. Cerruti, you just referenced what you would like to see. Can you go into more detail of that $200 million, exactly how you would like to see that spent? You have up to 90 seconds.
When I say comprehensive, I mean take our time, months, not years, and think carefully about plots of land and areas and neighborhoods across our city. Then we need to attract developers and investors to build things that attract people to our city. Now, I don't think we should spend $150 million on one project in Liberty Square, but if we can spend $20 or $30 million to get a venue that would attract people 365 days a year, we've got something. We've got an opportunity to develop Kenwood Estates, and still make it a greenland, but with housing down there. Harriman Campus is an opportunity to bring in technology vendors, not semiconductor, but smaller operations like manufacturing. And I've talked to people who are willing to come to our city. All of that needs to be part of a comprehensive plan. So as I said, the important thing is to use the money wisely and use it as an investment. I want to make the $200 million, I want to turn it into $1 billion by using it as seed capital. So if you're willing to invest $80 million in our city to build a strip mall, a grocery store, whatever we need, I'll give you $20 million, right? And that turns it into a leveraged investment. We got to do that over and over and over again with the places of the city that will transform our city.
Ms. DePliers, you have up to 90 seconds. What would you do with the $200 million?
So with the $200 million, and just to be clear, when the next mayor is sworn in, a lot of the heavy lifting regarding the $200 million would have potentially come to an end. But what I would like to see for our downtown is, one, investments in some of our smaller businesses. Again, talking about those businesses that have weathered the storm, those businesses cannot sustain without investment. In addition, attracting more big and bold development projects that focus on accelerating housing and business opportunities. I talked about accelerating access to our waterfront. We have a beautiful Riverwalk that is waiting to be revitalized and revamped with some basic infrastructure enhancements, but also making sure that we have a very pedestrian-friendly space in downtown for our families to be able to walk and enjoy. So that will require bringing developers back to the table, having conversations with our constituencies, our neighbors, and our business owners.
Thank you, Ms. DePliers. Mr. Ellis, you have up to 30 seconds to maybe continue your thoughts from earlier.
Well, anything you do downtown, we want to make sure it's family friendly. So families can bring their loved ones down, their children down to enjoy our city. But we also have to make sure that anything that happens in downtown, it trickles out into the surrounding neighborhoods. That was the mistake that was been made the last time we had this much money spent in our city. We have to make sure that our state government understands whatever happens in downtown, it has to trickle out through those neighborhoods, and they have to see a benefit from it.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Ms. McLaughlin, that's state funding.
It is about the people. It's not bricks and mortar that's going to save this city. It's about the people. And if we're not doing things in the city that are going to hold the residents that we have here and that are going to attract new residents, then the $200 million might as well be $20. Because we have got to understand that people make this city, and that money has to impact every resident in the city of Albany.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. We are going to take a turn here as we continue now here with this debate. Just yesterday, Tom Homan, Donald Trump's border czar, was in the city of Rochester, and this comes after some police officers were disciplined for providing backup to an ICE operation that was there. As you know, Albany is also a sanctuary city. My first question will be about this is, would you support the disciplining of officers who respond and coordinate and help out an ICE operation in the city of Albany? Ms. McLaughlin, you have 90 seconds.
I was on the Common Council when Sanctuary City was when Albany was designated a sanctuary city. By doing that, we said that we would protect residents in our city, people who have chosen Albany to be their home. And in so doing, we said that we would not support police officers or any officers that will come into our city and go against the policy that we've put in place. We do know that we're a target as a sanctuary city, but we have to make sure, who are we committed to? Who are we dedicated to? And that's the residents of the city of Albany. So I do believe that we would have to make sure that we did take disciplinary action, that we continue to educate our officers to understand what it means to be a sanctuary city and encourage them, admonish them to continue to follow that policy as it relates to the city of Albany. Unless you have a court document that says that you have to go into a certain place or find a certain individual, you have to follow the letter of the law of what sanctuary city means here in the city of Albany. And we would encourage them to the highest level to continue to do that, from the leadership in our police department all the way down to that street officer.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. Mr. Ellis, would you support the disciplining of an officer, a city police officer, for coordinating with ICE?
Well, we're
Up to 90 seconds.
We're still a land of laws, even though we have an administration that is trying to undo those laws as we speak. So, like any residents, any citizens of the United States of America, we expect them to obey the law. So if any police officer goes against the law that is put out there should be discipline, just like anybody else who would break the law. So my main focus is making sure that our officers know the law and that we abide by that law, and that we do not trample on people's rights, and that we protect every resident, every citizen in this city. They all have rights, and that is what we're fighting for. Right now, we're fighting to make sure that our country's laws are upheld. We cannot say uphold the law when we don't like it. We cannot say uphold the law when it's convenient. We must make sure this administration and our city upholds the law and follows the letter of the law, and have those legal battles if they come to us. That's only how we continue to maintain this democracy that we cherish so much. We cannot give in. We have to follow the law, and every city employee should follow that same law.
Mr. Cerruti, up to 30 seconds as a rebuttal.
Anyone in our city deserves our compassion and respect, and they're expected to follow the law. I would not support illegal, heavy-handed ICE tactics. Now, of course, our police officers need to follow the law, but they should not get involved in something that I believe is illegal. And of course, the law would need to be looked at here. The other side of it is we declare ourselves a sanctuary city when we have a lot of people on our streets that need a lot of help. So I think we probably need to get help from our neighboring cities and communities to deal with the number of people who are on our streets.
Thank you, Mr. Cerruti. Same question to you, Mr. Pliers.
As mayor, I would stand firm on the city of Albany remaining a sanctuary city. And I think the most important is making sure that as a city government, we are all on the same page, singing from the same hymn note. And so that requires ensuring that our officers are trained, but also we have a comprehensive plan so that when there are pressures or even confusion about what to do as it relates to ICE and some of the tactics coming out of Washington, as a city, we have a plan in place.
We do have a little bit of extra time to talk about this, so we each get 30 seconds for this next follow-up question. We've had conversations over the course of the last couple of years. We saw the influx. We saw some of the buses come up from New York City with individuals that were asylum seekers. I guess the conversation was, what does sanctuary city mean? Is it a law? Is it just guidelines? What is the framework around what a sanctuary city is? So we'll start from left to right here. Ms. Pliers, what does the word sanctuary city mean to you? Up to 30 seconds.
To me, it is really a guiding principle, a North Star for, as a city, what is our culture? What does it mean to be welcoming to other people who may not have citizenship? And so it is a North Star, and it is a shared principle, shared principles and a mission to respect and protect the rights and dignities of anyone who is living in our city or even visiting our city.
Thank you, Ms. Pliers. Mr. Cerruti, what does sanctuary city mean to you?
We've been a city of immigrants and welcoming for 400 years, and that should never change. This designation is a little fuzzy, and I get the principles and I don't disagree with them. The problem is we have our challenges in the city, and I've spoken with people over on First Ave and in West Albany who have been displaced from their homes by people we have brought into the city. And so I say again, there are towns and cities around Albany who can help with this problem. Inviting more people into the city at this time is probably not what I would encourage.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cerruti. Mr. Ellis, same question.
Sanctuary city to me means we're not going to allow ISIS or any law enforcement agency to come and just take our kids away out of our public spaces, of our institutions, without having a warrant to arrest them and take them away. That's what it means to me, that you're going to follow the immigration law and you're going to obey those laws. And in this city, we're going to make sure that you follow those laws and obey them.
Ms. McLaughlin, what does sanctuary city mean to you?
Just that. I feel safe. As a resident who has moved into the city of Albany, and I chose Albany because it was a sanctuary city. It is a sanctuary city. I expect to be safe as a resident of that city. I believe it's a protection of everybody who lives in the city. You get the same rights as I get. As a legal, law-abiding citizen of the city of Albany, you get the opportunity to live out a fruitful life in the city of Albany without fear of being accosted or forced to leave our city.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin, and thank you so much again for joining us here for this CBS 6 Power and Politics debate. We have to take a break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to the CBS 6 Power and Politics debate. The Albany mayoral Democratic primary candidates are here. We continue now our conversation talking about parking. Mr. Ellis, you have up to 90 seconds. How would you solve the city's parking problem as been described to us by some business owners recently?
We can't grow a city, we can't grow a downtown, we can't grow our business sector if we don't have parking. We know that certain businesses have left the city of Albany because we couldn't find parking. So the way I look at it is, as chief executive officer of this city, we're going to make sure the parking happens. We're going to eliminate the parking problems. We can no longer have a city where people continue to fight us having parking. It's been done. People always complain about, we don't want too much parking. We cannot grow a city. We cannot have private companies in our city if we don't tackle the parking problem. And we know, I'm pretty sure all the candidates up here know, they know businesses who have left because of our parking problem. We can't attract people to come into our city, enjoy our city without our parking being dealt with. So as part of that revitalization of that $400 million, we're hoping that they look into helping us make sure we have the parking that we're going to need to have a sustainable city, to have businesses stay in our city and not leave because of parking, because that's tax dollars we just lost because we couldn't figure out a parking problem.
Is that a garage? Is that a space?
It's whatever we come up with, but we're going to have parking in the city. I cannot, as mayor, grow this city until we put out parking. So that's going to definitely happen. There's people who are smarter than me on this issue, and we're going to make sure we have parking in the city of Albany.
All right, Mr. Cerruti, up to 90 seconds. How would you solve the city's parking problem?
Well, every new development that happens has got to have an accommodation for parking. It might be street parking, it might be garages, but that ought to be part of everything we do. We're an old city, and some things aren't going to change. One of the things we can do that would help this a bit downtown is to encourage and create more public transportation and more walkability. So these are things that ought to all be part of the comprehensive plan. While we're on the subject of parking, I'm going to try to eliminate the fees. We charge for parking, and it discourages residents and customers of our businesses, and it's something we don't need to do. Garages, yes, but street parking, although the app is wonderful, people come into the city and they just get annoyed. And the money we make, the money we take in from normal parking, again, not garage parking, is offset by the cost of getting it. We have trucks and people, we have an entire staff, they have uniforms. They literally spend as much as we take in. And all that did is annoy people around the city. So we need a relatively comprehensive plan to think about parking, because we're an old city and this is the kind of thing that discourages people if we don't fix it.
Ms. McLaughlin, up to 30 seconds. You want to address maybe what Mr. Cerruti or Mr. Ellis said, or how would you solve the city's parking problem?
In the last week, I've gotten 2 parking tickets because I was downtown trying to do city business, trying to do county business. I need an opportunity to address this issue. I agree with what Mr. Cerruti said about that's not charging people on city streets. But also, you cannot allow a law firm of 200 lawyers to leave Albany because they're paying too much for parking. We've got to have more facilities to address that issue.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. Ms. Pliers, how would you address the city's parking problem, or what any of your fellow candidates said here?
we have a culture of pointing out problems and not really having a handle on the issues and being able to quantify the problems. So the first step for me as mayor would be to conduct a parking study so that we are not shadow boxing a ghost. Once we have a firm handle on what the problem is, then coming up with a comprehensive plan that balances supporting our drivers who want to park on our business corridors, but also we need more pedestrian-friendly spaces so that people can actually access the businesses.
Thank you, Ms. Zappliers. We appreciate it. We do have time for our rapid fire round. I know we're all excited for that. So these will be quick answers, yes or no, and we'll start with this one. We'll start left to right and kind of snake back right to left as we go. But the first question is, at his State of the County, Dan McCoy proposed to consolidate county and city services. Is that a good idea, yes or no? Just a one-word answer. We'll start from left to right. Ms. Zappliers.
No.
Ms.
No.
Cerruti?
No.
I believe it is.
You believe it is. Okay, 1 yes and 3 no's. All right, the next question is, what is Albany's best attribute? One word. Start with Ms. McLaughlin.
The
Go right.
people that live in the city of Albany.
Our history.
Diversity.
Our diversity.
All right, the last one of the fast round, the rapid fire round, if you will. In one word, what do you want Albany's identity to be? We'll start left to right once again. Ms. Zappliers.
Vibrant.
Fun.
Vibrant.
Resident friendly.
Okay. That is 2 words, but there was a hyphen.
That was a dash.
There was a hyphen there. All right, we will now get to our closing statements. 45 seconds for each candidate. We'll start this time from right to left. Ms. McLaughlin, you go first.
It has been a real honor to be able to stand before you, the greatest asset in the city of Albany, the people of Albany. I hope that I have given you the opportunity to see that I am the most uniquely qualified person to be the next mayor of Albany. And I hope over the next few weeks that I will continue to have the opportunity to meet you at your door, on the street, in the supermarket, wherever we interact. You will find someone walking up to you saying, "Hi, I'm Carolyn McLaughlin. I am ready to serve, having been a part of this city, growing up in this city, and then serving it at the city, county, and state level. I am ready to go to work and go to war for the city of Albany, which will always come first."
Mr. Ellis.
Thank you. Thank everyone for listening. I'm proud of our city. I'm proud of the potential we have in our city. I've lived that potential. I am Albany. I'm the person who wants to make sure that our city fulfills its full potential as a capital city, where every family, where every parent, where every child, where every individual has the ability to grow and survive and not just thrive, to thrive and not just survive. I want to be your next mayor because change can't wait. We can build this city and be proud of the city that can create that vibrant city where everyone will want to be. So thank you, and I look forward to meeting you on your door, out on the phones, anywhere. But thank you, and I hope I can get your vote to be your next mayor of Albany.
Mr. Cerruti.
Thank you all. I am optimistic, but we have serious challenges ahead of us. I think sometimes we forget that the mayor is not a lawmaker. The mayor is the chief executive of the city, and the person we trust to keep us safe, to maintain our streets, and to show up when there's a crisis. A good mayor brings people together, deals with complex challenges, makes decisions, and sees that things get done, and without waste and corruption. And for 35 years, I've been doing that. I brought people together, I've tackled complex projects, I've done things that people said we couldn't do. And I've done it on a scale of the city of Albany, several times with $200 million budgets. And my opponents have never done anything like that, even once.
Thank you, Mr.
And this city
Cerruti.
needs that right now.
Thank you very much. Ms. Zappliers.
Thank you, CBS 6, for this opportunity, and thank you to all of our viewers. It has been an honor to be here, and I'm going to close how I started. Albany is my home, and home is always worth fighting for. I have a deep appreciation for our city. I believe in our city, and I am committed to Albany's future. We have a historic city in need of a vibrant future and a youthful future, and it would be my honor to serve as your next mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Zappliers. Thank you all for joining us here today. And thanks to the viewers for tuning in here tonight. Of course, you can find this on our website, CBS 6 Albany. It'll be on our YouTube page as well. Make sure to tune in next week as we have the debate for Albany's Chief City Auditor. That's on Tuesday, right here at the same time on CBS 6. That's the Democratic primary there as well. But for now, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.